Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm glad we got her. She's not going to be with us for a few weeks, as I understand it. And we're actually going to talk about that today because she is taking a sabbatical. What does that mean? Now, we have an idea of what that means, but we want to break that down, go a little bit deeper. She's somebody that has had a long career in the legal field. Now she coaches and helps people move their lives forward, whether you're in the legal field or not. You just be an individual looking to move your life forward. You could be somebody who is a C-suite executive, not just an individual that owns a business and find yourself kind of stuck or looking for answers. Margaret Enloe is back with us. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Steve. I'm enjoying the day and catching up on a few things. Went out and did some errands, which felt good. Got to the gym, so that felt good too. I actually just recently had a cortisone shot in my wrist, and that was yesterday. So I have to take it a little easier at the gym. But
interesting. What's that? So you open the door. I'm curious. Cortisone. What's the shot for?
I have a little pain in my wrist. I like to play tennis, and that exacerbates it. And if I don't play too much tennis, then it kind of fades. But anyway, I wanted to get a little more relief from intermittent pain. And the doctor goes in there and he scans and on a screen, he's looking where to inject this cortisone, which reduces inflammation.
Gotcha. And I believe I had that, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago in a shoulder. And it was last year, just, I played tennis maybe 2 weekends a month out of the summer and had a slight rotator cuff issue, and I just let it resolve itself. So I get it.
Yeah.
At least we're active.
At least we're active. That's right. Well, be happy about that.
So you're active. You're taking a sabbatical. And when are you leaving? Let's go there first.
What's your question?
When are you leaving?
Oh, when am I leaving? Thank you. On Sunday, about 9:00 on a nonstop flight to Singapore, which is like halfway around the world, nonstop. So a long flight. But that's when I'm
your destinations are Southeast Asia and Europe for your sabbatical. And I know a friend that took a sabbatical. I'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
You're taking one for how long, and what made you come to that decision?
I'm taking one for close to 4 months. I'll be back Memorial Day weekend. So it's just shy about a week of full 4 months. And I'm taking it because I like the idea of doing something new. I've always enjoyed traveling with my husband. And these are going to countries I've never been to before. My husband did live in Indonesia many years ago, so he's been to some of the places that we're going. And back to pain in our bodies. About a year ago, he had a bad back pain, so we had to put the trip off for a year. Now he's had an operation on his back and cleared up that pain, and so we can do this trip. And so it took a fair amount of planning, but that's what we're doing.
So lots of questions, lots of thoughts here. For those thinking, my gosh, the expense and everything. Okay, yes. But I'm going to put that aside for a second and bring up another friend for a moment. And I wouldn't call it a sabbatical, but he sold his house in Florida in August, bought it 4 years previous, felt the market was changing. And in Florida, because of insurance issues, the prices have been coming down, and he wanted to get the most he could for it. Sold his house, banked a profit. He does digital work. He actually works with me. I have a marketing company. He takes care of the Google aspect of it. He now calls himself a digital nomad. He doesn't have a home. He lives at Airbnbs.
Oh, wow.
And at the moment, he is in Punta Cana. He just got there 3 days ago. Prior to that, he went back to Florida, another Airbnb, near friends. Figured he'd hang out with them for a while. Prior to that, he was in Dominican Republic again. He went back, but a different spot. Prior to that, it was Florida for a month. Prior to that, it was Egypt. Prior to that, he's been, and here's the thing, and this is the mind blow. It costs less to do that than own a home
Mhm.
because he's not worrying about the lawn. He's not worrying about all these other fees. And
Nice, yeah.
nice Airbnbs are very reasonable.
Yeah.
And so he's kind of living the life. He's not married, doesn't have kids.
Yeah.
Uh, he's
Yeah.
he's right around 50. So he has the opportunity to do this. So in my way, it's almost like an extended sabbatical. Will he get a house again at some point? Yeah. But you know what? It's been August and he's been traveling. So there for about 4 months ish right there, kind
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
same situation. Um,
Yeah.
what prompted you to make that decision to take that? You just wanted to be away. You wanted a different experience. You wanted to see a different culture. Was it really that you needed time away? Just want to get a fresh
Yeah,
feel.
needed time. I like the idea of some time away,
Mhm.
not to escape so much what's going on in the United States, but just to travel and see new places.
Sure.
And then my life, by and large, is fairly full of activities, meeting with clients, going to Zoom meetings with a group of coaches, uh, talking to you, going to the gym. And so I don't have as much time, just sort of dedicated time with my husband.
Hmm.
And I like the idea when we travel, well, we're pretty much together all the time and seeing new things together. So those trips have always been very nice. And I thought I could put a pause on my coaching, my speaking engagements, and come back hopefully in June. And we'll see where that takes me. But I would imagine in some fashion I will continue to do some of the same things I'm doing now, but it's that's putting a couple things on pause.
Hmm. Why Southeast Asia?
Because Steve, those are countries I have never been to. I've been to China, I've been to Japan, Hong Kong, but never to places that I'm going, like Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, Laos, Indonesia. We're going to do a special snorkeling trip in Indonesia that my husband knew about. It's probably the best in the world, Raja Ampat, if you've heard of that. And then Bali, spending some time in Bali. Most people have heard of Bali, and there's a real touristy section. And then there's some really beautiful areas of Bali. So we'll see that. And then, yeah, that's why Southeast Asia.
Hmm.
Because I've just never seen that part of the world. And I do have some friends in Thailand, uh, German friends who live there, ambassador from Germany, and friends as well in Malaysia, where we'll be going. So I'll be seeing them as well. Yeah, catching up with a few people I haven't seen in a while.
In another land. How cool is that?
Oh,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
and then Europe. Now you're also including Europe in this trip. Why Europe?
Europe is almost like coming back to home base, and we're doing with cousins a hiking trip in the lower boot of Italy, Puglia, Matera.
Hmm.
And it's an area that a lot of people have not been to, but it's anyway, we're doing a hiking trip down there with cousins. And then my sister is going to be in Greece. So after the hiking trip, we're going to fly to Athens and then connect with her on an island in Greece called Amorgos, which is an island most people have never heard of, but it's a beautiful island. A lot of interesting beaches and places to hike. And then finally in Geneva, where my son lives, he's been living there for over 7 years
Wow.
and loves it. And I don't necessarily expect him to come back to live in New York ever, but it's a wonderful place to visit and spend about 10 days with him. And by that point, I think I'll be ready to come home and I'll be in a much different time zone, 6 hours difference, which is very different from 13 hours, which is where I'm starting out.
It
And
almost
then,
sounds like you were intentional about that. It's like
yeah,
the
yeah, I
get
was. I
let
was. Yeah,
move yourself around so you
yeah,
get closer to
yeah,
your
exactly.
home
Yeah,
zone, so to
exactly.
speak.
My home zone. Yeah,
Wow.
I've been to Italy and Greece and Switzerland. In fact, I spent my ninth grade year of high school in Switzerland. I lived in Geneva with an American family and went to the French side of the international school there, which is a very good school.
Wow.
And was super homesick for the first 3 months. Even there was a young woman there my age, but it was just such a huge change for me. But then come Christmas time, I got to go skiing and had new skis, and I spent 40 days on primarily on weekends and some vacations skiing up in the mountains of Switzerland. That's where I learned. And so I myself have spent a lot of time in Switzerland and have fond memories of it. So it is in a way going back to a place I know pretty well.
Wow. So exciting.
Yeah.
Just the thought of just the change and being in a, I find, and not that I have enough time to do it, but being in other states, other countries, and just talking to people and hearing, their mentality, their mindset, their culture.
Sure.
It's fun. It's fun. It's like it's always a fresh experience when you do
Exactly.
that.
And even talking to Americans abroad,
Yeah.
that is often a very interesting conversation. So I enjoy that aspect of the travel, just meeting new friends and people. I stay in touch with quite a few
Hmm.
of them over the years.
Do
Yeah.
you do this because you're bringing back memories for me? And I was on a work trip broadcast live from Antigua in the Caribbean. And this was 2021. And this would have been out of my mind until you just started talking. And I remember being by the pool and meeting this gentleman, also named Steve. And he was from the UK. He was with his wife. And then we
Yeah.
started talking about music and what resonates for him, what resonates for me. And I'm trying to think of what song it was that we were both we heard come on, and we were like, "Oh, what a great song!" But I still remember
Yeah.
the energy that was exchanged between he and I, and it was just like I remember that. I mean,
Yeah.
these things you don't
Right.
you
Right.
take with you.
You do take
You
them
take
with you.
with you, right?
Sure. Yeah. And
Hmm.
it'll create a lot of new memories for me, and I be exposed to some new things. I'm a little bit of a risk taker. So I posted this morning on LinkedIn, there's a little video of me,
I saw
and
it. Yeah, yeah.
did you see it? And you saw I went on a snowboard, learning to snowboard, and then that was actually very tough. And then doing a bungee jump. So I've done some other kind of crazy things, but that's not why I travel. But I've gone hang gliding in Rio. That was very scary too. But as I say, I travel a little bit more, just have new experiences and create new memories,
Hmm.
meet
I
friends.
on my I don't know. Have you ever skydive?
I have never done that. Have you done that?
Haven't. I was going to go this past summer with my son because he had just turned 18 and he's able to go. Just logistically, we didn't get to it. I'm going to take the blame for it. I should have been more intentional. It's happening. But somebody gave me a gift certificate for it 2 years before. There's no turning back because it'll go to
Really?
waste. So it's
No.
happening this summer.
It happened. Oh,
And I'm very
well, I got
excited.
beautiful.
In fact, you know what? I should just make the reservation now for summer. So it's
Great
on.
idea.
You know what I'm
Take
saying?
action. Yeah,
That's
take action.
is that yeah. eh, When we look at the coaching principles, how would that look? What I'm just saying right now, is that something you would say to somebody? Just take action and do it.
Oh yeah. I mean, all the time. Steve, I had a client actually earlier this week, and we talked about setting goals for the time when I'm away, because we're going to come back and I'll pick up. I wanted her to have some specific goals. And I talked to her about making SMART goals. And then I followed up by saying, with respect to each of your three goals, what specific steps are you going to take and when will you take them? So very much
Hmm.
it's nice to say, hey, I want to go hang skydiving. I got this gift certificate, and then that's the end of it. But in coaching, as a coach, I'd say, well, okay, Steve, it sounds like something you're really looking forward to do with your son. When do you see yourself doing that? Well, sometime this summer. Like, well, what time this summer? Well, blah, 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 blah. It probably makes sense to do it in July, end of June, because he's just out of school and vacations are usually July. So what would it take to actually get that scheduled, Steve?
Hmm.
Well, I'd have to find the gift certificate. I'd have to look at how I make a reservation, go online and do it. So, Steve, do you think that's something you want to do? Yeah, I want to do that. So, Steve, when might you do that? Is it this week? Is it today? And you see, you get down to that level of discussion, not on every subject, but something like this. Yes.
Yeah, and we're just using this as a broad example. This could be anything,
Yeah.
starting a business, but I talked myself out of it.
Huh? Why?
Um, I heard from somebody that, you could spin around, and I don't like circles. And
What
I
does?
should have picked up the phone. Hi, question for you, Skydive Central. Can you tell me,
I did.
does that
Yeah.
happen? And if it does, can we get out of that? Because that's not my thing. But this is the self-talk that we experience. So it was
Right.
that. Then it was something else came in my mind. Then schedules, and then son's availability. Then he started working over the summer, and then things started piling on top of, and then it never got done. And then we were looking at they end in mid-October. So yeah, I was trying to plan for when he'd be back, and then that weekend it rained, so couldn't do it then. And then that was it.
Right.
So
Right. Okay.
yeah, but not. I didn't try hard enough. I didn't have accountability, and and also I want to go back to the self talk. I think that we do that, and I'm sure you encounter it with clients where this
Of
the
course.
chat, the monkey chatter in your
Oh, the
brain.
monkey trap is huge.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. And comparing yourself to people is one thing, the imposter syndrome, lack of confidence, all these things. Why did they say that to me? What does that mean? Am I going to get fired?
Mm. Oh
I've
yeah.
never started a business. I mean, people have lots of this. And I talk to people about that. What is the chatter that goes on in your head? What's it about? How often do you experience that? Some people say every day, and other people say, it's not so bad now. It's like once a month. So that's a very different situation. And so,
Mm.
and not
Isn't it
everybody.
isn't it amazing when you change your mindset, when you intentionally work on it? I don't know if I shared this example, but I'm kind of proud of myself in this regard. I don't say
Oh,
that often, but when it came to taking blood tests, routine blood tests,
mhm.
I would do just what I said I did with the skydiving. I
Oh,
would, I got it scheduled on Thursday. Now it's Wednesday. Yeah, you know what? Let me just change it to next week. Done. And then I would just,
ah,
reschedule it. Have
uh,
to like just
yeah.
get myself to go because I'm a grown man afraid of needles. And then I turned my mindset around to I'm going to get information that's going to help me. I am doing something for myself. I
Me,
don't do
right.
right. Yeah. And
That's
maybe the
doing it for the
information might not be
process.
the best, might not be, but, or maybe it will be, but whatever it is, we'll take care of it. And now we've got it and all good. And that was a year ago and before. And I was just addressing some medical stuff. It's all good. Everything's great. Um, I must have had in the last 3 months 12 different needles for all different reasons. And you know
Wow.
what? Doesn't even bother me. It's like I walk in, yeah, what do you got? Yeah, take care of it. Yeah. And
Eh,
it's almost as if I, I'm going to try and put this in words. Um, it's almost fun now.
Oh, that's good.
It's almost like a thrill. Like, yeah, right. Stick it in. Let me see. Stick that needle in me, and let me see if I, what kind of pain I feel, or not. And it's almost like a laugh inside. Like, are you worried about that for all that time? And I'm just using it as an example, as if you change your mindset,
Mhm.
how it can be radically different.
So, Steve, how did you change your mindset on that?
Telling myself that it's for me, and I don't do enough for me.
Okay.
So when I'm going, it's not like, doctor wants me to get a, blood test. It's more of I'm doing it for me. It's almost like going for a massage. Why do you go? You're doing it for you, for whatever the goal is, to feel relaxation. I'm going to get information. And I just kept thinking that to the point where it's like, oh, I'm here. All right. Yeah. Well, I don't even think about it anymore. It's just autopilot.
Wow, that must make a big difference for you.
It does. I'll be Thursday, had 5 needles in 5 minutes. And it was like,
5 minutes. Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
nothing. And after the first, painkiller, which wasn't anything anyway, It's all up here. It's all the mindset, everything. That gets in our way and blocks us from moving forward. Um, I'm sure if it was a goal of opening a business or changing a position or something like that, and I engage somebody like you to work on the mindset, eventually it sticks in
Yeah,
your
it's
mind, and then you move forward.
exactly. Well, you talk about mindset, and there's a lot of written about open mindset and a closed mindset. And you had an open mindset to shifting from one attitude to a different perspective on why is my blood being taken. And had you had a fixed mindset, this is never going to be good. This always hurts me. I've never liked it since I was a little kid. I remember crying. Then you would be stuck in that fixed mindset.
Yeah.
But your own coaching to yourself, which is wonderful, you were able to shift with an open mindset about, well, maybe there's another way of looking at this.
And it was all
So,
false belief. It was all false belief, fear. Again, the acronym, you know
yeah,
what fear is, false evidence appearing real. What would I would tell myself? A needle going in, or what happens if I get queasy? What happens if I pass out? What if it never happened? Doesn't happen.
right.
Maybe I had a one experience back in the day, and maybe that, was piloting me to
Color,
some
yeah,
extent, putting it
one
up.
experience. Yeah.
And I'm just giving this is one example, but it could be anything that that those thoughts in our minds hold us back from doing things that we want to do.
Right. They do that a lot.
When you're away, are you going to be able to coach?
Not effectively. And I have therefore either paused my engagements or they've concluded. But I'm telling my clients, if something comes up while I'm away that you would like to have my input on, please just send me an email, not a text. Send me an email, and I will do my best to speak with you, arrange some time. I can't promise, but it's providing some space there for a client who might want to, yeah, I just want to get, 15 minutes with Margaret, and I'll do my very best to work that out. So in that sense, it's not I'm not closing the door, but for the most part, I'll be on a break on a break
Gotcha.
from coaching.
Well,
Yeah.
I look at it this way: you're going to be coming back refreshed,
Yes.
different perspective, um, time with your husband, and even before you announced the sabbatical, I remember a number of months ago that you said, "Yeah, the one thing I don't spend a lot of time. We don't spend a lot of time together." So I
Yeah,
guess
you remember that.
this
Yeah.
is addressing it. Wow. Um,
Let me
I
just let me just say one thing in this
Sure.
regard. I'm taking this mini sabbatical, I call it. PwC, where I used to work, established a program for partners and and employees to take sabbaticals. And I think they could be up to 3 months. So in this business world that PwC operates in, they understood the value of getting away from your normal everyday job and the pressures of that job to do something different. And the firm would support that. It couldn't just be sitting on the beach and twiddling your thumbs. There had to be some component of, let's say, learning. Maybe I'm interested in learning a new language or traveling to some place and spending some time there. So quite broad. But the point is, this is a huge organization, huge business where they recognize the value of mini sabbaticals. And that's in effect what I'm
Wow.
doing.
Wow. And you just brought back a memory. I have a friend who took a teacher, and she's been, in her role for a long time. She took a sabbatical last year, and she has some timeshare opportunities in California. So she spent like a month here and a month there. And the only requirement for the sabbatical is she needs to do an online course. You need to while you're on your sabbatical, you need to look like you're furthering yourself. So she picked some
Hurting yourself.
classes and did it, and she had a wonderful time, wonderful experience.
Yeah,
Um,
that's great. I'm glad she
yeah,
had that fun.
and
Great.
got paid a little reduced salary, but well worth it for
Yes.
your
Yes.
mind. Wow. Um, I'm so envious. I'm so happy for you. It's so exciting.
Thank you. I look
Wow.
forward to seeing you though when I get back.
Yeah. I'm sure lots of stories to be told when you get back, from food
Probably
to,
so.
even just snorkeling. Wow. In the best place in the planet. Um, in the meantime, if somebody wants to reach out to you, how do they do that?
Two ways, Steve. One is on LinkedIn, and I'd love for people just to go there and see what I posted today.
Sure.
For example, I post pretty often. And by my name, Margaret Enloe. And the second is on my website, which is margaretenloe.com.
And that's
And
ENLOE, margaretenloe.com.
ENLOE, yes.
Wonderful. Great talking with you. Thanks for sharing today. Just different view of things. You know what? We feel in our society guilty when we take time.
Yeah, you're right.
If I had, 5 career regrets, one of them would be not taking all of the time that I earned.
What you earned, yeah.
Yeah. And why did I not take all the time that I earned? Because I wanted to look more valuable.
More valuable.
Yeah. And then
Exactly.
there's another coaching topic right there.
That's another topic. That's for sure another
Exactly.
topic. So I hope you're taking more time now.
I'm doing the best I can. And
Okay.
but now it's intentional. Now it's, take it. Take it. You earned it. Take it.
Yeah.
Have a wonderful time, and looking forward next time we get together, which will be probably about 4 months from now.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Great
Thanks,
to see
Margaret.
you, Steve. Thanks so
You
much.
will.
Bye-bye.
We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.